Yeah. Ever walk into one of those places just packed with phones and gadgets and like all the latest tech? And you wonder like who keeps that whole thing running?
Yeah,
Well, get ready to dive deep because today we're going to be tackling a career path that I think is a lot more dynamic than people might think.
absolutely.
It's the telecommunications equipment shop manager.
That's right. It's where tech meets people.
Yeah.
And it really is a fascinating blend, I think, of product knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
leadership, and some serious problem-solving skills.
Yeah, it's not just managing the inventory or anything like that,
No,
right?
no, forget about that. It's much more than that.
Yeah.
You're like the captain of the team, and you're navigating this ever-changing world of connectivity.
Okay, so not just stocking the shelves, and I'm sensing a theme here. It's about guiding people through this like galaxy of gadgets.
It is.
But before we like launch into hyperspace here, let's define this role a little bit in
Okay.
like plain English.
Okay, so imagine that you're not just selling smartphones and routers, but you're kind of like the crucial link
Okay.
between those devices and the people who need them every single day.
I like that.
And as we all know, our world is becoming more and more reliant on, being connected all the time.
Oh, yeah.
These shop managers are really essential.
Totally. Yeah.
They're the ones making sure that you and I get the tech we need
Right.
when we need it and explaining how to make it all work.
Right, it's like being a tech translator almost.
Exactly.
You're taking these complex systems
Yeah.
and making them like click for the average user.
Absolutely.
And I think our sources painted a really interesting picture of like what this job actually looks like day to day.
Yeah.
And it's not for the faint of heart.
You're right. It's a lot more than meets the eye.
Yeah.
Think like a fast-paced environment.
Mm-hmm.
You're juggling sales targets.
Right.
And yes, you even have to deal with those occasionally frustrated customers
Oh, yeah.
who are convinced that their internet woes are all your fault.
Oh, yeah. The retail tango we all know and love.
Exactly.
I actually, I had this experience one time where the entire point of sale system crashed
Oh, no.
while I was trying to buy a new phone.
Oh, wow.
Talk about chaos.
Oh, my God.
And it just really highlighted how important it is to be cool under pressure.
Yes,
Especially in this kind of job.
absolutely. And, that brings up a really good point and a key insight from the research that we did.
Okay.
You could be like the most amazing tech whiz.
Mm-hmm.
You could build a 5G network from scratch,
Right.
but a full 80% of this role
Wow.
is customer service and people skills.
80%.
Wow. 80%.
So even if you know the difference between gigabytes and gigawatts,
Oh, yeah.
if you can't diffuse a frustrated customer whose like data plan just exploded,
Exactly.
you're not going to thrive in this role.
You're not going to make it.
So tell me more about these all-important people skills.
Sure. So it's about being able to listen to a customer's needs,
Okay.
understanding their tech issues, and
Yeah.
explaining sometimes very complex concepts
Right.
clearly and calmly.
Yeah.
Even if they're really upset because their new phone isn't connecting to their Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah. Right, because technology has this way of getting tangled up,
It does.
both literally and figuratively.
Yes, it does.
Speaking of getting tangled up,
Okay.
let's talk about the skills needed to actually excel in this role.
Okay.
Because it seems like you need to be a master of multitasking
Mm-hmm.
with a serious dose of tech know-how.
Right.
What else are we looking at here?
So our sources highlight a whole bunch of different skills.
Okay.
Everything from like critical thinking and problem solving
Mm-hmm.
to negotiation and persuasion.
Wow.
It's like they took all the best parts of a tech manual
Mm-hmm.
and like a communications seminar
Right.
and just like blended them together
Yeah,
into this like high octane career.
it's true. Yeah, you need all those skills.
They do.
Because it's not just knowing how things work, right?
Yeah.
It's knowing how to make these things work for other people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, imagine a customer walks in and they have a router
Okay.
and it's like constantly dropping their video calls,
Oh, gosh.
which is like a
Ah.
nightmare scenario.
Oh, tell me about it. My
Right.
internet connection is my lifeline.
Right, exactly. So you have to figure out what the issue is.
Okay.
You have to explain it to them in a way that they understand.
Right.
And then you have to find a solution,
Right.
whether it's just like changing a setting or maybe updating the firmware
Mm-hmm.
or even just recommending like a whole new router
Right.
that can actually like handle all their streaming.
Yeah, you're even just a tech expert. You're like a tech therapist.
I like that.
Yeah, you're guiding these frustrated users like back to the promised land.
Yes, exactly. That's a good way to put it. And the best part is like, as you get more experience,
Okay.
these problem-solving skills,
Yeah.
they can take you really far.
That's what I'm really curious about. This deep dive isn't just about what you're doing today. It's
Right.
where can this role take you tomorrow?
Exactly.
So let's talk career trajectory a little bit.
Okay.
Our source material laid out a pretty exciting path, I think, and it all starts with the entry-level sales associate.
Right. You start there. You're the friendly face that greets everybody who walks through the door,
Okay.
whether it's some tech-savvy teenager who wants the latest earbuds,
Right.
or it's a grandparent who just needs help sending their first email.
Yeah, you're like decoding the digital world one customer interaction at a time. I like it. But let's say you've mastered the art of the upsell. You are a pro at troubleshooting Bluetooth glitches,
Okay.
and you're ready for the next challenge.
Yes.
What's next on the career ladder?
So that's where the assistant shop manager role comes in.
Okay.
And this is kind of like your leadership training ground.
Okay.
Our example profile at this stage, this is somebody who's not only supervising other sales associates and monitoring inventory, but they're handling all those customer complaints with grace and efficiency.
So you go from product guru to people manager. It's like a natural progression.
It is.
But I bet it comes with a whole new set of challenges.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because you're not just making sure the shelves are stocked anymore.
Yeah.
You're making sure that your team is like motivated and ready for anything.
Exactly. And those leadership skills are really going to become even more critical as you climb the ranks to the shop manager position.
Okay, so you're putting on that manager hat now.
You are.
What does that look like day to day?
So this is where you really are like the conductor of an orchestra.
Okay.
You're overseeing every single aspect of this shop.
Wow.
We're talking about sales inventory, customer service, staff management.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. You're juggling a lot of balls.
Yeah.
But it's also incredibly rewarding.
Okay.
You're thinking about the big picture. You're analyzing all the sales data, trying to figure out what's popular, what's not. And you're just making sure that the entire operation is running smoothly.
So you're like the CEO of your own little tech empire.
Basically, yes.
I like it. What happens when you're ready to expand that empire, though?
Okay.
Our sources mention this regional manager role.
Yes.
As like the next rung on the ladder.
That's right. You go from managing one shop to overseeing multiple locations.
Okay.
You're setting those sales targets for an entire region.
Wow.
Developing strategies that actually take into account, what's happening in those local markets. It requires a really, really deep understanding of the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And the ability to motivate and guide, not just one team, but several teams.
Right.
This is where your leadership skills are really put to the test.
For sure. It's like leveling up in this game, right? You go from like shopkeeper to regional, I don't know what you even call it.
Yeah, regional overlords.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good one. But let's say you've done that. You've conquered regional management. You've got a strategic mind that would make Sun Tzu jealous.
Okay.
Where does this path lead, like for those people who are at the very top of their game?
So at the very top, in this world, you would be called the director of retail operations.
Okay, so now we're talking...
Big leagues.
Yeah, executive suite level?
Yeah.
What kind of decisions are you making at that level?
So you're setting company-wide sales targets.
Okay.
You're managing these multi-million-dollar budgets.
Wow.
And you're building those relationships with, like, the big stakeholders.
Okay.
Like the people who are actually making the products.
So you've gone from the shop floor to the boardroom, basically.
Exactly.
This career path has more twists and turns than, like, my old headphone cords.
It does. It does. But... to get to any of these levels, you got to ace those interviews.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, what kind of curveballs should someone expect if they're trying to, really impress a hiring manager in this field?
Well, luckily for you, we actually had a whole section on this.
Oh, good.
And, some of the common questions that came up were things like, how do you handle a difficult customer? Which, like we said, is a huge part of this job.
Right.
Another one was, can you describe a time when you had to resolve like a really complex equipment issue?
Oh, yeah. So they're testing your actual knowledge.
Exactly. They want to know that you can, deal with the tech meltdown and the customer meltdown at the same time.
At the same time. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
So it's not enough to just know your stuff. You got to be able to explain it.
Exactly.
And like build that rapport even under pressure.
Yeah, you're the face of the company.
Right.
For a lot of these customers.
That's true.
And, don't forget about staying up to date on all the latest tech.
Right.
They might ask you something like, what excites you about the future of telecommunications?
Oh, that's a good one.
Right? Or how do you even stay informed about everything that's going on in the industry.
So they want to know that you're passionate and curious.
Yes.
Not just going through the motion.
Right, exactly.
This deep dive has been full of surprises, I gotta say.
It has been interesting.
We've uncovered this whole career path that's like demanding and rewarding, but it's constantly changing.
It is.
Kind of like the technology that it's all about.
Exactly.
What stood out most to you from all this?
You know, I think what really struck me was just how many different skills you need to have. Right? To be successful in this kind of job, you got to know about tech.
Mm.
You got to understand business, and you have to be a really good communicator all at the same time.
That's a lot.
It is.
It's a lot to juggle.
It is. And imagine what it's going to be like 5 years from now, 10 years from now.
I know, right?
We're talking 6G, the metaverse.
Who knows what else?
Who knows? It's crazy.
It's going to be wild.
It is. And this is an industry that's always pushing the boundaries.
Right.
So who knows? Maybe one of our listeners will be out there leading the charge, explaining the unexplainable.
I like that.
Troubleshooting, the untroubleshootable.
To a whole new generation.
Exactly.
I love that image. So to our listener out there, if anything that we talked about today has like sparked your interest, if you love building rapport with people, if you're good at explaining stuff, and if you secretly want to be like a tech whisperer to the masses,
okay,
this might be the career for you.
It could be.
Right.
It's your chance to be at the forefront of all this new technology.
Right.
To help guide people through these ever-changing times.
Yeah.
And to shape the way that we all connect with each other.
It's been really fun, like, exploring this role from the front lines of customer service.
It has been fascinating.
All the way to, like, those strategic planning sessions.
I know. It's amazing to think about.
Where the future of connectivity is being charted.
Yeah, who knows what the future holds.
It's true.
But it's going to be an exciting ride.
It is. It's going to be a wild one. And on that note, we'll sign off for today. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of the telecommunications equipment shop manager.
Thanks for having me.
Until next time.